Wasn't ready for that. I was gonna do more of a 2022, another summer. Sound of the
funky drummer. Music hitting your heart because I know you got soul.
Brothers and sisters.
There we go.
Hi everyone. Welcome.
You forgot to strap a giant clock to yourself as well, like the part where he goes brothers and sisters, like that giant clock there, the big alarm clock. Holy shit, dude! I want one.
You should get one.
Yeah.
Hi. So, Cranked and Ranked is the name of this podcast. I don't know if I said that yet, but this is sometimes our introductions are a little bit all over the place, and this is one of those days. So this is part 2 of our Public Enemy album ranking. If you didn't catch the first part, maybe you're just tuning into this because you want to hear about the top albums, our top albums, because we did 16 albums total, and this episode is number 8 down to number 1. And for those of you who are new, Cranked and Ranked, it's a podcast I do with my friend Eddie Sparxx, where we rank discographies of different artists, mostly rock and metal, sometimes hip hop, sometimes other kinds of rankings we do as well. But this is today it's gonna be cool because it's gonna be one of those episodes where we literally just talk about how much we love shit for an hour and a half or so. Because it's like, because there's these top 8 albums. Like I had some minor critiques in the last episode of some of my bottom 8, but we already got to the point at the end of the episode last time where we were already in Banger Central, and now it's literally just 8 albums that I think are fantastic that I had to figure out what order I should put them in. And so that was a little bit of a chore, but I feel like in this particular case, there were some that just really shine and stand out that make it a little bit easier, but all quality shit. That's the intro. This is the show. Welcome. You're now in the show. We've now passed the intro part. We're now on to the show part. If we had chapters, maybe I don't. You can do chapters on YouTube now, but I'm just like, that's just for the most part, that takes way too much time. And honestly, if you're skipping through the video, you're going to do it anyway at your own pace. You don't need me to tell you where you're supposed to go. And if you're listening to this in a podcast, you're like, what is he talking about? I don't want to have to go see their faces. I just want to hear them talk about music. So
it's a long form piece of content. If you're a true fan, you're in for the long haul. Let's do this. Speaking
of true fans, we still have merch available. I'm holding up a coffee mug, a Cranked and Ranked coffee mug. And you can get all sorts of stuff, old head and Cranked and Ranked, at my store, which if you go to YouTube, you can easily find. There's links and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, that out of the way, go buy some shit. And now we're going to let's just get into the love fest. So this is our top 8 Public Enemy albums. Like I said last time, I explained briefly that we left out things like the collaboration album with Paris. Is it Paris? Is that who they did it with? Because that's not just Public Enemy on their own. And
there's another one as well called Enemy Radio, isn't there?
Enemy Radio. Yeah, that's those were left off. And so we ended up taking all of their just Public Enemy albums, including the 2 that have like new stuff and remix type stuff on it. So this is the top 8. Really, if you don't know a lot about Public Enemy and you're trying to figure out where to get into them, I would say this is the episode for you. We'll try to point you in the right direction. Hopefully you'll get into it, because they are, in my opinion, one of the greatest hip hop bands. I say bands, groups, whatever, in history. So let's do it. As usual, I throw it over to Sir Edward James Sparxx. I just knighted you. I don't What does that even mean when somebody gets knighted in England? Does that mean that they don't pay taxes anymore, or what? Something like that?
I think it means you get. I think you get referred to as Sir,
That's
and then
it.
that's. I think so. Well,
Oh,
the queen, like puts a sword on your shoulders, which is that's something.
oh, okay, okay. Well, you
That's
know what? I'm gonna piss off your country, and I'm just gonna call you sir anyway.
yeah,
Even though no sword has ever been put. I mean, maybe a sword has been put on your shoulders. I don't know. There might have been something going on in your life.
yeah. It
Yeah,
was
I
a
don't know if you
wild
did
night.
any LARPing. Have you done any LARPing in your past? Maybe that happened. Anyway, so yes, Eddie Sparxx starts us off with his number 8 Public Enemy album.
Cool. So my number 8 is
Mm-hmm.
from 1998, year of our Lord, aka Eddie Sparxx' birth year.
Oh yeah,
Because fuck it, I'm not Sir, I'm Lord. Thank you,
Lord.
Lord Eddie
Okay.
Sparxx of the Solar Federation. um, yeah, He Got Game is my number 8.
Awesome.
Cool. I'm gonna jump straight into my track by track here.
He got game before you start. Just
Ah,
so everybody
yes.
knows, He Got Game is a soundtrack album to the Spike Lee joint. He Got Game, and it's essentially an entire Public Enemy album that was the sound. Well, I think there's also like regular movie style cinematic music for the movie as well, but this is the hip hop soundtrack to He
Yeah.
Got Game with Denzel Washington.
Cool. Yeah, it's a soundtrack album. Again, doubles as a Public Enemy album,
Yep.
and it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a break away from their usual style at this stage, because this is the first. I mean, I know there was a little bit of a departure with music and our mess age.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The beats were a little lighter on that one, but this one has some like really soulful stuff and some very very late 90s hip hop styles on here as well.
Yeah.
So Resurrection right out of the gate, everything great about late 90s rap is in this song. And then you get He Got Game, the title track. Great use of the For What It's Worth Buffalo Springfield sample in there. That was a really cool song. Unstoppable. Love the sinister sounding beat on this one. Shake Your Booty. This song does what it says on the tin. Because it's one of those that's like infectious. It does make you move.
Mm-hmm.
Is Your God a Dog? There's a nasty slow groove to that one. House of the Rising Sun, as in my boy son.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Sky Sun that's really hot. Rooted in more of an old school hip hop kind of beat, so there's still a little bit of their roots on it. Revelation 33 and a third Revolutions. This album, now here's something I'm gonna tie to a GTA game, while not necessarily having an appearance in the soundtrack. And my reason for this is, I would call this album as having a GTA 3 vibe. And this is one of those little things that like sticks in my head as an association with something. But like, what I mean by this is that when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, it was a game changer for video games. The first really important GTA. It was the first 3D one that wasn't just Pac-Man with an AK-47. And one of the stations in that game was a hip-hop station. The thing is, the game was set in the present day. Said present day is 2001, which is over 20 years ago. So now when you go back to that game, it has this like crazy nostalgic feel to it, because it's like an early 2000s / late 90s time capsule. And a lot of the music on that game is original. They didn't have the budget to like license a bunch of big songs yet.
Oh, okay.
So it's an interesting one.
So the very first GTA games, were they side scrollers?
Pretty much. Yeah, the first couple, they were like on the PS1, and they had it was essentially like a real pixelated little guy, and it had a top-down view, and you would run around and
Oh,
you would
I
grab a
never knew
car.
that. My only memory of that game is all of a sudden it being a fully formed world where you can turn around and look everywhere. Like that's I had no idea it even existed prior to that.
It's really funny actually, and this ties into a little bit of British culture here. They did GTA 1, which had three different locations in it, but they were all like, again, it was like Pac-Man with a gun.
Yeah.
um, but then they did a little spin-off called GTA London 1969, and it's like 60s London, and it's hilarious. Like it's all like 60s vibed. Everything
Does
is
it have
hilarious.
Austin Powers show up in it at any point?
It's funny actually because I think that was like around the exact same time as Austin Powers, so they probably thought,
well,
"Ah, shit, let's
well,
tie that
yeah.
in."
The first Austin Powers, if I remember right, was 96 or 97, and then
Exactly.
the second
Yeah.
one I think was like 99, and that movie was huge. The second Austin
Yeah.
Powers movie, I just remember like being surprised at how popular Austin Powers had gotten because I was like, I thought it was like a dumb movie that I really liked, and everybody likes it.
Oh, dude, gotta love some Mike Myers action. But yeah, it's. I mean, whenever I hear this sort of hip hop, I'm taken back to like my very early childhood because my mum was listening to music like this in like 2002, and when I was like very little,
Yeah.
and I remember her listening to Eminem and then like turning it off when I came back in the room because she knew it was she knew it would be a little inappropriate for 5-year-old me to be listening to uh the Eminem show. But yeah, anyway, thought that was a cool little tangent. It
Yeah,
has a
for those of you who are new, it seems like Eddie always tries to find a way to work in some Grand Theft Auto game into every episode. And usually it's a very natural thing because so much music has been included on so many of those games that and if you're a person that plays those games a lot, that it's a part of your musical experience. So
being from the generation I am, they had a huge part in shaping my music taste,
yeah,
and that is not the only time I will be talking about.
it's
Yeah,
it's
because there
so
is
weird.
one.
My musical, so I have music connections to video games, but they're just based on a particular thing I was listening to at the time when I was playing a particular game, and that memory has just been burned into
Yeah,
my head. Like I remember playing, there was a Nintendo game called Tecmo Bowl, which is like a
yeah,
football game. And I've never even been into sports, but for some reason I had such a blast playing Tecmo Bowl with my friends. And I remember there being a day where we were playing that and listening to the first Bonham album.
whoa.
And I just remember the song "Wait for You" being on, and just me kicking ass at Tecmo Bowl, and that's just like in my head. So when I hear "Wait for You," I'm like, "Oh, remember that when we played Tecmo Bowl? That shit was cool." And Blades of Steel, that was a big one too, man. I loved Blades of Steel. That's like my shit back there. You want to talk about OG Nintendo games? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I was playing. Mind you, I
Yeah.
was playing them about 2 or 3 years after everyone else had already gotten them because my parents always got me the system. When the new one came out, I got the old one. So everyone else
Yeah,
had the Super Nintendo. I got the original Nintendo finally. And I
yeah.
didn't care. I was just so happy to finally have Mario and all those other things to play. So that's how games came out for me. They were always old new games.
It's funny as well. Like in GTA San Andreas, while it's on my mind, there are little like arcade cabinets in the game where if you
Mhm.
go into like a store or something, they have a few arcade cabinets and they have like old school style arcade games hidden in the game, which is really cool as well. But
Nice.
yeah,
That was a
those
tangent, folks. There you go.
yeah,
Back to
little
the album.
tangent there for you. Little tangent. Yeah, game face. I love the like twangy harpsichord kind of thing going on. Like ding,
There's a
ding,
lot of
ding,
really,
ding.
for lack of a better term, but it's an appropriate term, cinematic choices on this album.
Yes,
So it's very appropriate as a soundtrack.
totally. And I haven't even seen the movie yet, but I have a pretty good idea that I would like it. Like
it's been a
the
really
sound
long
of it.
time since I've seen it, but I've never seen a Spike Lee movie that I didn't like. Like and I've seen, I think most of them. There's probably 2 or 3 that I haven't seen. But some of them are some of my favorite movies. So that's a very, like, I got really into, like, in the early 90s, especially when I was young. I got into, I guess, what would be referred to as black cinema at the time. So all of those movies that were coming out, the Spike Lee movies and things like Boys in the Hood and Juice and stuff like that, they were all movies that, like, or even on the sillier tip, things like House Party, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. For some reason, I connected with all of those movies, being a white suburban kid, even though I always felt like I never fit in there. So for some reason, I just enjoyed those stories and those characters and stuff. And so it was, Spike Lee's been a big deal for me since I was a kid. I remember, here's a funny thing. I took a date in was it right in between 8th and 9th grade, I believe. So I was like a young teenager. My girlfriend at the time, we went to see Malcolm X as a date.
Whoa.
That was in it because it had just come out and I really wanted to see it. And it was like so weird because it was like we hadn't been seeing each other very long. We were both very young white kids just going to see Malcolm X, which is like a 3-hour movie. And I think maybe she had thought, like, well, this is going to be like, a date. Maybe we'll make out during this movie. And I'm all like, shh. I'm just like really into Malcolm X and Denzel's performance and everything. And I'm just like, did we come to see a movie or what? Come on. Anyway,
it's funny because, like, I've had girlfriends in the past who were very much of the mindset of, like, we paid to see the movie, dude, and it's like, come on, we're in the back row. Like,
that's why you go see a movie you've already seen. Like, I remember going, I saw Lethal Weapon 3 like 3 times in the theater because 2 of them were going with girls and just making out in the theater. I'm like, you know what? I've already seen it. Riggs and Murtaugh get out of it again. Everything works out. Let's just make out in the corner.
That's awesome. But yeah, Politics of the Sneaker Pimps, laid back groove to that one. What You Need Is Jesus, emotional kind of beat going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Super Agent has a badass vibe to it.
Yeah.
Go Cat Go is like this rocking heavy beat. Fuck yeah. And Sudden Death interlude closes it out. But yeah, it's a really cool album. I really enjoyed it. It's a revisit for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not the sound I think of when I think, oh, I'm going to stick on some Public Enemy.
No.
So yeah,
it's not a go-to, but it's a very, very good album. So for my number 8, I'm gonna jump on to one that you talked about in the last episode. My number 8 is the 2012 album Most of My Heroes Still Don't Appear on No Stamp.
Nice.
Which was one of 2 that they put out in 2012, and this one is the superior for me. The other one being Evil Empire of Everything, I think, was the second one they put out in 2012, and that one's it has its flaws. This one, for the most part, like, it's one of those albums that kicks in with like a killer energy, like right away.
Yeah.
And it's, being their 11th album, and this is 2012, and they're not only that, but the second, this was the first of 2, but so I don't really know if this was like the main one and they just had a bunch of leftover tracks and then put out Evil Empire of Everything. I'm not quite sure, but either way, this one is the one that's just chock full of like all sorts of great shit. And I don't know how many times this has actually been done, but in the first song, Run Till It's Dark, there's an extended guitar solo. Like there's guitar solos in some rap songs, but it's usually really brief. And then they move on. But this is a full on, like, different levels guitar solo thing that happens in it. And it's awesome. It's an awesome little part of that song. So with this album, like the cool thing about it is that in 2012, you can tell there's still plenty of fuel left in the Public Enemy tank. Like
Yeah.
they're still raring to go and have plenty of ideas. And the cool thing about it is that this far along in their career, they are still able to have tracks that surprise me. And I go, oh, that was cool. I don't know if I've heard them do that or didn't expect that. Whatever. It's just it's cool that they've maintained that. And over, it's basically just like a super focused and solid album in 2012 from a band that could get away with much less and still be successful with it. Like a lot of groups, not just hip hop, rock, metal, whatever, they get to a certain point where your core audience is going to buy your shit, and so there's a lot of phoning it in, and especially in the metal world, a lot of phoning it in, and so they don't have to do this, but they do it anyway, and that's why they're one of the best. So this ends up, at number 8, even though I really, really like it. And the big thing about these albums that are, in the lower half and in the lower end of this particular episode, the problem is that, and it's a me problem. It's not a Public Enemy problem. It's the fact that I really miss the sample heavy sound of the early days. And that's not their fault, because I realize you can't realistically do that kind of music post the early 90s, because like what was happening, for those of you who don't know, is that hip hop started and essentially started on samples where DJs would take a break, just a drum part or something from a particular song, sometimes a rock song, sometimes a funk song, and they would just loop that. And then eventually, when they got a little more fancy, they would take other samples from other songs and lay them on top of that, all shit that didn't belong to them, but they were putting together to create this soundscape that they would rap over, or somebody else would rap over. And by the early 90s, I think all of a sudden there were some laws that were brought into effect, the sampling, type laws, where you had to like get permission and pay. People started asking for money, sometimes a lot of money. And even in the early 90s, at that point, like that was the thing. Even throughout the 90s, there were some rap, superstars who were rich, but most people didn't have that kind of money. Even some rappers that really well, that were doing really well, they didn't have that kind of fucking money. So all of a sudden that started to get phased out, and you started to get, artists creating their own sound, using, synthesizers and drum loops and all sorts of other stuff. And sometimes that's great, but the sound, we talked about it on the last episode, the sound of Public Enemy, the sample heavy sound, where they would take really odd sounds that you wouldn't even expect to throw into the mix and just create, it was like the Bomb Squad had a lot to do with that, but just these soundscapes that like, they sounded like nobody else's beats. Like you knew it was Public Enemy. And there's a little bit of that. They're able to capture that a little bit on these later albums, but I miss the idea of taking something and making it part of something new. And I really wish that artists weren't such assholes about it, because it's like, look, it's a sample. Now I get it. If you're sampling a large part of a song, like fucking Eminem deciding he's just going to let the chorus to Dream On play throughout his entire fucking song, I mean, that's lazy. I love Eminem, but that is fucking lazy. So at that point, you pay them some money. But if literally you take like a part of a drum, a kick drum, a little part from some song, just get over yourself and just appreciate the fact that somebody is taking something you did and made something new with it. Your shit's living on in a way that you never anticipated. So enjoy it. I'm not going to change anybody's mind with that fucking rant, but I wish that I could, because I would like it to be the Wild West of sampling whatever the fuck you want to sample, because that just made early and golden age hip hop so fucking great. So anyway, and so that's not here, obviously, because this is 2012 when this came out, but still a very strong album. They just did 7 that were much stronger in my opinion. So that's my number 8. Most of my heroes still don't appear on No Stamp.
Just to go off of that, like copyright law is a real double-edged sword, especially, you and I are both creators. copyright claims and stuff are such a bitch on YouTube. Like, if anyone listening hasn't heard what an absolute bitch the content ID system can be, you can make like a 2-hour documentary and you can get the entire video demonetized for 2 seconds of using Careless Whisper or something like that. If you have that like saxophone part in there, that's 2 hours of hard work null and void. That is
and on top of that, what makes it worse is that creators like you and I, we use 2 seconds worth of Careless Whisper and we get demonetized. Some other guy does an entire video where he just plays Careless Whisper and talks about it. That guy's fine. That's the most ridiculous thing, because I've had videos get full on blocked where I can't release the video at all because of the song that I used. But then I look and there's 50 other people who, conveniently enough, have like 50,000 subscribers or more. So it's like, I get it, YouTube. You're all about like helping out the people that are bringing in the money, but the people that are up and coming, I would like to bring in the money for you, YouTube. I would love it. I'm okay. And I'm perfectly okay with the money partially going to the artist, or in some cases fully going to the artist of whose songs I'm playing. But to make it to
the companies, though, doesn't it? Like,
most of the time it does.
That's the thing.
I understand that's how it works, but the fact that shit can be fully blocked, where like, you did all this hard work, fuck your hard work because you used part of a song. That's ridiculous to me. I'm hoping that's something that gets ironed out pretty soon, because if everyone's got to realize that in a world where it can detect it and send the money where it needs to go, and your music is getting promoted, why is it not a thing where everybody's able to use whatever? Because that's the world we live in now.
Fair use, people.
Yeah,
we need to protect that shit.
And that doesn't help, by the way. Copying the fair use law and putting it in the description of your video, it doesn't do shit. Nah. It does not matter.
You just got to be clever with how you use it. Now that is how it's done.
I've just gotten to the point where, for the most part, I stopped using other people's music, full stop, because I'm like, there's no point. There's no point in me doing it. Anyway, on to number 7.
Cool. My number 7 is from 2007.
Wow.
And that is How You Sell Soul to a Soulless People Who Sold Their Soul.
Say that 10 times fast.
How you sell soul to a soulless people who sold their soul. How do you sell soul to
that is a tongue twister.
That is
how do you sell soul to she sells seashells by the seashore?
How you Peter Piper picked a peck of pig. How did I end up here? So this is what I personally believe to be the strongest of what would be considered the modern Public Enemy.
The 2000s Public Enemy.
Yeah. And it's weird, isn't it, that the 2000s are that fucking long ago now. I'm gonna have to like redo my idea of what's modern in here, because modern. But
when it comes to successful artists that first got successful in the 80s and then in the 90s, you could easily draw a line at the 2000s, and kind of, because of the music world became way different. So even though it's been 22 years now, it's still, it all kind of goes together, because that's when things kind of shifted for, all of a sudden you had once Napster came around and things like that. And then the internet got way more, easily to access for everybody, then shit changed. Everybody knows that, right?
But this right here is the strongest thing of their modern era.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine, I mean, you haven't talked about it yet either.
I haven't. So
it's clear we both think highly of it.
Yeah.
How You Sell Soul to Soulless People Who Sold Their Soul. Cool opener. Black is Back. Rock, hip hop, throwback kind of beat. Love it. Harder Than You Think. I had a moment where I went, ah, is that it? I actually had a like major moment where I went, "Oh, I recognize this," because I have heard this many times before.
Mhm.
Then you get Between Hard and a Rock Place. That's what she said. uh, Sex, Drugs, and Violence. I got kind of a Slick Rick children's story influence here, where
Mhm.
obviously they got the kids singing, but he even opens it with "Once Upon a Time, Not Long
Not long
Ago,"
ago. Yeah.
where people wore pajamas and live life slow. I
I always
fucking
used
love
to
that
I
song.
always used to think he was faking a British accent, but the dude, I don't know if he was born in England, but he lived in England for a long time, so he had a legit bit of an accent going on. I mean, I'm sure he still does. He's not dead,
Well,
so
I think he was like, I think he lived in Wimbledon. I think, but yeah,
where the
that
tennis comes
song,
from.
yeah, and that song is in GTA San Andreas.
Of course it is. Why would it not
Ch-
be?
Children's story, people. Hell yeah. Um, American Gangster, great chorus. Can You Hear Me Now has a funky ass beat to it. Head Wide Shut has wild, crazy interlude beat. Flavor, 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 man, flavor. Fucking love that shit. But like knowing that it was used in the Flavor of Love like intro, like the very first time he walks in and he's in like a pink suit and stuff, I can never shake that out of my head. So I've just got him like playing Bachelor dancing towards this like wall of girls in a big old pink
I,
suit in my head
I
every time this comes on.
I would be really interested to know, because I don't know if I've ever even seen an interview where this was addressed, but I would really like to know what Chuck D thinks about that whole period of all
Me
of a
too.
sudden Flavor Flav becomes a TV star in some respect. Um,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, he never did anything but be himself on television.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know, like, was Chuck rooting for him and cheering him on, like, great, this is your moment in the spotlight, take it, or was it more like, now everyone just thinks that Public Enemy is going to be this joke because you're the guy from Public Enemy and you're making these silly ass reality shows. So I'd like to know, Chuck, if you're watching, what did you think? Comment down below in the YouTube comments.
uh, wow. One scene from that as well. Y'all ever seen that show, The Bachelor? Rolls the window down, leans out of the limo. Flavor Flav is the Blackchula! Frankenstar, that riff is killer.
It's a fucking great song.
Oh my god, what a great song. Cole Leapin, Flav back at it again. Radiation of Radio TV Movie Nation is a like anti-racism interlude. See Something, Say Something, cheeky beat. Long and Winding Road, cool song. Bridge of Pain. Flav is such a character, man. I love him. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
Eve of Destruction, cool psychedelic kind of song.
Yeah.
How to Sell Soul, Time is God refrain. Kind of brings the album full circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a Harder Than You Think remix. It's a cool remix. It's very different too. Like if you're gonna do a remix, change the vibe up completely.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
all in all, this album shows a renewed confidence following the very average album that came before it, which was New World Order. And neither of us are comfortable saying that, even this
New
episode.
World Order.
New World Order. New World Order.
All right. Well, for those of you at home who are waiting to take your shot, take a shot right now, because Eddie and I have matched up with our number sevens.
Hey!
My number 7 is also How You Sell Soul to a Soulless People Who Sold Their Soul.
Oh, you said it so much better than I did.
2007. It's their 10th album. I agree with everything Eddie said. There's a really good energy to this album. It is, in my opinion, their best in the 2000s and beyond that they've made. It's you said it. It's a really big step up overall, especially in production and overall sound and just kind of cohesiveness of the album itself. And I love the fact that there's on many tracks, there's a use of horns and other things that kind of give it a really grand quality. Like it sounds like a very big, full album. And I love, that at this point, they obviously in 2012 they've been doing good shit up until now. But I love the fact that, even though they do have some throwbacks here and there, they normally don't rely on the past or tread water really. Mm-hmm. Because this album overall, for the most part, feels like a pretty unique Public Enemy album while still maintaining that core Public Enemy kind of sound. And it's a very memorable album, a lot of memorable tracks, just strong shit all over the place. And an interesting thing about this album for me is that I normally argue about albums being too long, and this album's well over an hour long, but it doesn't really lose any of its potency along the way. All the times I've listened to this album, I never get to a point where I go, God, how many fucking songs are left? It's like, it seems like it really keeps the momentum going for an hour plus. And that's something to be said, because there's very few albums that I can think of that are over an hour long that don't bore me at some point. And so, great album. I agree with Eddie, and obviously we matched up on it. So we can move on from this one, but it's a great, if you're looking for a more modern Public Enemy sound, this is the best of that sort of thing. How You Sell Soul to a Soulless People Who Sold Their Soul. Let's move on to number 6.
Cool. So my number 6 is Greatest Misses.
Hey, all right.
Now this is here because I feel like I needed like a cutoff point between, I'll admit I have my biases for like the 80s and early 90s style of production and that whole era and that whole era's vibe. So it takes something incredible for something more modern to infiltrate the hierarchy.
Yeah.
So this one being like an EP's worth of new material, original song wise, felt like a good, middle between this and that. Yeah. So, Greatest Misses, number 6. Tie Goes to the Runner, groovy ass beat with a repetitive chorus, just built to aggravate parents,
Yeah.
Hit the Road Jack, that bass line is very tasty. Mm-hmm. Lovely. Get Off My Back is a funky jamming Flav track. Again, love it. Whenever Flav gets a song to himself, I'm in. I don't care what he says. He could be like talking about what kind of Pop Tarts he likes, and I would be fully invested.
What kind of Pop Tarts? What is your go-to Pop Tart flavor?
Ooh, cookies and cream. That fucking
that's
me every time.
See, I'm very old school because back in the day you didn't have flavors like that. You had, I believe, you had chocolate, cinnamon, and strawberry.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with Pop Tarts. Pop Tarts have a big part of my life. I haven't eaten one in years because I need to like not eat things like that because I already weigh too much as it is. But when I was younger, like I loved the chocolate frosted Pop Tarts so much, but I would just eat those straight out of the package. Don't cook them at all. If I'm going to heat one up, I take a cinnamon Pop Tart and put it in the toaster oven and get it nice and little crispies. And that was those were the two things. It was like, what is my mood today? Is it chocolate Pop Tart or cinnamon Pop Tart? But both were, that's like my childhood right there. Pop Tarts. Yeah. Cause I literally grew up in a house where there was just food in the pantry and I just went and got stuff, which is, probably not the best idea in the world, but
you don't care when you're a kid. You're like, hell yeah, this is the fucking life, dude. I have free reign on the Pop Tarts.
Yeah. And I remember that originally there was only 4 Pop Tarts to a box for a long time, or maybe it was just 6, and then they expanded it to 8 Pop Tarts to a box. And it's
Yeah.
just like, oh man, I'm gonna, because like, because I'll go through a whole box of Pop Tarts when I was a kid. I'd just be like, fuck it, this is my lunch.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pop Tarts. You had to bring up Pop Tarts, and I haven't had one in such a long time that when people bring up things like Pop Tarts and cereal, I just go, oh man, it'd be so nice to have like some Frosted Flakes again because it's been such a long time. But
I will say, I am a full blown breakfast cereal enthusiast. I believe in breakfast cereal supremacy.
and honestly, like I love breakfast cereal so much. I like things that are they're on the blander side all the way over to like ridiculous shit like Cookie Crisp and
Yes.
whatever. But I can eat straight up with no sugar added cornflakes in some skim milk and be perfectly happy.
Same.
But also, you want to throw me some Cocoa Pebbles and Fruit Loops and shit like that. I'll be happy too. But my go-to is Frosted Flakes. I mean, that's just, it's classic.
You want to know one that I think is underrated? That I think people look at it and they think, oh, that's just bland grown-up cereal. I even as a child, I always really enjoyed the Red Berries special K, like
Oh,
the
I don't
one
know
with
if
the
I've
little
ever
like
even had that.
the one with the little like freeze dried raspberries,
Oh.
strawberries, and it had like cherries in it, and it's
Yeah.
they were like freeze dried astronaut food basically in with the Special K, and I
Yeah.
always really liked it. I always used to like finding a whole ass raspberry and just being like, that's my raspberry now.
The thing that I do miss that I guess you kind of missed out on a little bit was that they would have cereals for everything. So Batman comes out, there's a Batman cereal. I remember buying if I remember right, buying a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure cereal when that, and just random Ghostbusters cereal. Nah, fuck, I didn't think about that shit when I was a kid. I just would go to the store with my mom and be like, I love that movie. Get me that cereal. And then I would eat it. And it was always the same thing. It was just marshmallows in some cereal that kind of was in shapes. And that was it.
I will say, I have seen a slight nostalgic return to this sort of thing because I went shopping the other day, a couple weeks ago with my girlfriend, and we saw that there were like 80s movie Nesquik like cereal. There was like Back to the Future,
wow,
like boxes where they were just like putting movies on them, and it's like, yeah, this is kind of cool. Is there like there's like little competitions or something?
I mean, but you had those. You had toys inside your cereal. Sometimes you would get fucking records on the backs of your cereal. You would cut out a record on the back of it, and it would actually play on your record player. Probably fucked up your needle like crazy. I remember having one of those, but I don't remember what it was. But those were the days of just eating crap and it not really affecting you.
Yeah. There was a pretty clear cutoff point. I got to about 18 and I realized, oh, I cannot get away with McDonald's every day anymore.
When it came to shit like Pop Tarts and cereal, I think the trade-off was beer. Like once beer became a big thing in my life, I'm like, look, I gotta like get rid of one. So, unfortunately Pop Tarts, took a knee and I had to, go with the beer, and then it never ended. So
yeah, long story short, cookies and cream Pop Tarts are pretty rad. Pretty rad, dude.
And Flavor Flav needs to make that Pop Tart song as soon as possible.
Awesome. I am all for it. Why are we not funding this?
Well, I don't know. We'll do a GoFundMe for Flavor Flav doing a Pop Tart song.
Nah, fuck that. That needs to be like a government mandate. Like, they need to corner him and say, hey, look, Cranked and Ranked said they need a Pop Tart song from Flav. Like,
if only we could raise money for that, it would be funny. That if we can't accomplish a lot of things, but if we can put together a Flav song about Pop Tarts, then I feel like maybe we finally could just shut the book on our lives and be like, you know what, we've done some good.
We were the two assholes that caused that fucking Pop Tarts abortion of a song from Flav. Oh, I love it. Let's do this. But yeah, Gotta Do What I Gotta Do is a cool song. Air Hoodlum is an absolute...
Air Hoodlum. I always liked that. How that was in the beat.
Hell yeah. I was just going to say, it's an absolute journey of beats as well, because it has a lot of different parts in it.
Yeah.
And then the final original track on here with Hazy Shade of Criminal is a badass song.
Yeah.
Love it. Dum diggity dum. Like, I fucking love those parts of the lyrics. Fucking killer. Real creative flow to it. The rest is remixes and a live performance, but nonetheless, it's still good. It's still rooted in that old school feel I love. And that is my number 6 with greatest misses.
Awesome. So my number 6, we talked about it the last time, but man, we're now at a point. Yeah, these are all fantastic albums. Number 6 for me is There's a Poison Going On from 1999.
Nice.
Amazing, just like a fucking experience of an album. It's their 7th album, and it's a real evolution in their sound, because this followed up the He Got Game soundtrack, and prior to that, Music and Our Message. But this is like a thing where I don't know what happened, but they turned a corner and just made this. It's like filled with like these sparse, kind of minimal, almost psychedelic at times, kind of music under the Public Enemy vocals, and it just gives it such an interesting vibe. And it really, like, it's interesting how like the vocals really stand out on this album, and it to the point where you could kind of overlook what's going on in the beats, because some of it is very minimal. And that's the thing about some hip hop, is that as much as I love the early Public Enemy, where there's these crazy soundscapes with just stuff going on all over the place, there are some really great hip hop songs with just a beat and something real minimal over that beat that plays throughout the entire song. And sometimes that is all you need. And there's more complicated things on here than just that, but it seems like they let everything breathe a lot in this album, while still maintaining this sort of urgency that you've come to expect from Public Enemy. And I just think it's one of their most interesting albums. And it's just another great example of why they're one of the greatest hip hop groups, because they put out something like this in 99, and it's just, the sound on here isn't necessarily what was popular. Like 1999, I think of Puff Daddy and things like that, where everything was kind of blown out of proportion, where it got so big where it's almost like the production of the songs and the music video actually outweighed the importance of having good lyrics. And so which is whatever. I mean, I like some songs from that era too, but this coming out then is just like kind of it's a pretty big statement from Public Enemy. And they never gave you the same shit over and over again. I mean, it's always Public Enemy. I mean, if you're not a fan of hip hop, then I'm pretty sure this all sounds like complete bullshit to you, which honestly, I can't help you. Your life is already in shambles because of that. But while this is not without its flaws, it's just something about this as a whole. It's a whole vibe of an album that, like, it's a particular Public Enemy sound that sometimes I really want to listen to this album because of just the whole. I keep saying the word vibe, but there's no other way for me to put it.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, and it's super enjoyable, and it's very cool. And we talked a little bit about it last time because it was lower down on your list, but I mean, you had nice things to say about this one too.
It was just barely not in this one, because I think that was the last one I mentioned.
I think so. But yeah, killer album from a group that proves over and over again that they have staying power and they can remain relevant, not just in their lyrics but also in the decisions they make sonically. So yeah, my number 6, There's a Poison Going On. Top 5.
Cool. So we are in absolute banger central here on in.
Yep.
And yeah, let's dive on in.
Do it.
My number 5 is Yo, Bum Rush the Show.
All right.
And like this is just great 80s hip hop, dude. Like it has a harder edge to it, but it's still very 80s hip hop.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear them getting the sound that they would go on to have with the following record on here, but it's still, there are some moments on here that like made me think, oh, that's kind of Run DMC. That's like, there are a few moments, but yeah,
it's very of its time, and they're still getting their footing, but you know, already fucking standing out as a fucking killer group.
Yeah, and you know, like I say, this is number 5 in a list of 16 albums, so it's fucking good. You're gonna get yours.
Like, to the side, I know you hate my 98. That's just,
you're gonna get yours.
An amazing album opener.
Yeah, like everything about that. You know, that's the sort of song you just drive around with all the windows down, with it cranked obnoxiously loud, sunglasses on, and everyone thinks you're a dick, but you're so fucking cool. Like, sophisticated bitch. I love 80s rock hip hop. That fusion genre. That like little semi sub genre of hip hop. And like, I'm not talking like rock with like rapping in it. A rock sample in hip hop.
And you could say that the person to thank for that is Rick Rubin, because like he was the person who was, you know, partially running Def Jam, but putting together a lot of the music for some of these artists, and he was also a rock guy. So that's why, you know, I think that's a big reason. And then it became a thing where everyone just wanted to do that. But, you know, there were already people sampling rock, you know, obviously prior to Rick Rubin, but I feel like he like popularized it.
Yeah.
Where it became a thing where everyone was looking for the cool rock hook for a track here and there. And that's a big reason why hip hop connected with me so much when I was young, because I got into hip hop around the same time I got into rock music. And you know, it just seemed like they fit together so well. I was just like, I get the same energy flowing through me when I listen to a rock album that I do listening to a hip hop album. And so that's why I've never understood people that draw a line and be like, you know, fuck all that hip hop bullshit. I'm like, well, I've said it before. Are you listening to a genre, or are you listening to good music? Like, what's the difference? You know, what are you trying to do? So, so I love it when they put it. I love it when they put the, you know, rock stuff. Even today it still happens, and I'm always like, yeah, that's fucking sweet.
Awesome. Yeah, because like third track, Musey weighs a ton, groovy as all hell, dude. Time Bomb, this album rules, man. Too Much Posse, you know, Flavor Flav takes the mic on this one. Right Starter, Message to a Black Man.
That is to me the standout track on that album. Right Starter is so good.
Yeah, it's just ass kicking hip hop. Public Enemy, number 1. Like, I love that.
One.
I love that beat. It sounds so sneaky. MPE, another fat, chunky, groovy track. I love the old school hip hop flow, man. Like, I'm not even gonna say low key. I high key want people to start just rapping like that again for like no fucking reason. Just to be like, I'm gonna bring this back. I don't give a fuck. You know?
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care if you think it's cringe. You know,
it might come back around, because like if you notice, like it becomes a trend where everyone does the same style. And I say everyone, a lot of artists use the same style of cadence once it becomes popular.
Yeah.
It's always baffled me that I'm like, why does everyone do the same thing now? Not, it's like all the popular music all has the same rhythm to the words. Like that's how you're supposed to fit them in now. And I guess that was the same thing back in the day. You had your individuals that really stood out, but then you had a handful of artists where you're like, that flow sounds very similar to somebody else.
You see that? Have you ever seen that video of Snoop Dogg taking the piss out of mumble rappers? And he's like, they all got the same flow. They all go like this like it's all triplets and it's all unintelligible auto tune.
Yeah,
it's so funny, but like
that's
like.
I mean, we do live in a time. I mean, it's been going on for years now, and I don't mean to be that guy that says these things, but the reason why, like, I think a lot of people don't or get annoyed at hip hop these days is because in some cases there's been less of an emphasis on actually having talent as a rapper. Like that. Yeah. Like there are some really talented people out there, but there are other people that just get a career because they got face tattoos. I don't know how they got famous, but their actual rapping is really poor. So are you gonna get a face tattoo? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, I'm gonna wait till I'm very rich to do that. But what was it? I saw a meme the other day where someone had taken this, like, it's like a new rapper, but what struck me about it was like it was extremely well delivered, like clearest possible way you could rap a line, but yeah. he's like almost Bob Ross levels of calm while he's delivering the line. And yeah. Like one of the lines, I can't remember what the other half was, but it's like, I just took your life and you see it's unrefundable. And it's like, the caption was, motherfucker rapping in Times New Roman. But like the thing is, I actually walked away from it liking the way he delivered the line because A, I thought it was a very unique way to rap.
Yeah.
And B, you can, and you know, this is coming from a metalhead now, you know, I could turn around and you know, someone could turn around and say, but you listen to death metal, which is, but like,
yeah,
like on the flip side, the building blocks of rap, first of all, death metal is just there to sound fucking gnarly, right? The reason people like rap is because you can, or at least like the old style of rap, if you're into the old styles,
yeah,
they're so lyrical that you hear it all, and
getting a message across with words.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah, I'm not tied to that.
Focus is not words.
Nobody ever said that the vocals in death metal were important.
No.
but with hip hop, I'm okay with some different styles, and if your delivery is a little more, you know, on the edge where it's, you know, it's kind of hard to understand what you're saying, as long as you're presenting it in a unique and interesting way, I don't really care. So I'm not necessarily one of those people, but I do think that there's so much. There's just, it's like there's a video out there, and I don't want to call her out because other people already do. There's a video out there that's probably been around for years now of who's that rapper? She's from Australia, but she fakes a rap accent when she raps.
Iggy Azalea.
Iggy Azalea, and it's her live doing what I guess is supposed to be freestyle, but it's completely unintelligible. It's just and I'm just like, okay, listen. It's not really freestyle if nobody can understand what you're saying, because you could be just completely rapping gibberish, and that is not talent. Like, and so every time I see it, I've watched it so many times, I'm like, it's so hilarious, and I'm sure she's probably saying words, but it's like,
dippy dappy ding dong, the baby's in the well.
but even that's something going on there. But I think that there's a lot of that where it's gotten to the point where, you know, a lot of people don't care anymore. Nah. And I think that's going to come full circle, though. I think that's going to get left by the wayside, because at the end of the day, I think when somebody comes out with some really great lyrics, it's always a thing that stands out. You know, there's a reason why Kendrick Lamar is famous.
Yes.
And and he's not always a guy that I can understand the first time out. Like, I also his lyrics.
I remember syrup sandwiches.
Yeah, but sometimes his lyrics go way over my fucking head. So I can hear the words that he's saying, but I go, okay, rewind that. Because it's some of it's just like layered and shit that I go, all right, well, I'm not smart enough to decipher what this means. But people love that about him. And so, I think that you're always going to have those trends where, things become popular for fuck who knows reasons. And then stuff that stands out because it's legitimately great. And so, yeah.
While it's on my mind, I also want to draw attention to a thing that you and I had been kind of talking about in, unrelated to the show, but it's like death metal related. Mm-hmm. The fucking, that 6 Feet Under song where Chris Barnes does that gnarly fucking
it's fantastic, man.
I've been working on it. Fight for life, breathe. Hanging from the rope, the body just twitches there.
I just love the fact that it almost sounds like he's singing the E. It doesn't. Yeah. So and it's funny that like that's why I think there's something weird going on in my brain when it comes to music, because I can literally look at something like, I don't know, Number of the Beast or Master of Puppets or some album and go, I can clearly hear the genius in this music. And then a song like that everyone's so quick to go, this is so fucking bad. I listen to it and go, I don't know. It's kind of genius. I don't know. There's a repeat listen factor to it where I go, I wish the whole album was like this. Because the other songs that are a little more straightforward, I go, I don't really want that. I just want it to be, I want it to be 6 Feet Under's new album, and I want it to be just called E. And then every single fucking song has just like random. I don't know, because I have no beef with Chris Barnes. I don't like his vocals. I think that he's gotten to the point where I'm not going to tell him to stop, because you keep doing what you're going to do. If nobody buys your records, then you'll figure it out. But if they still do, why not keep going? Fuck it. But I have to say that whole thing of him being called out for that song, it's just made him get all these different streams of that particular song, because it's just me listening to it over and over again, because I'm just like, I gotta hear that again. It's fucking great.
Anyway. I love the fact it sounds so brutal and serious, like fight for life, breathe, hang from the rope, the body just twitches there. I fucking love that shit. Anyway, back
I love how we managed to get up on all these tangents during public. Last episode was tangent free for the most part.
Yeah.
And this one, I don't know what's happening, but
I think there's less to critique and more to just pull from and make funny shit.
It's a fun vibe. Like being critical about these top Public Enemy albums is ridiculous. And so it's just all right, let's have fun with it.
We'd be in like we'd be at such a nitpick level it would become cringe. So we're just better off just fucking
having a good time.
Having a good time with it. Hell yeah.
Hopefully you're enjoying this, everybody.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's called, what is it called?
It's called The Noose by 6 Feet Under.
The Noose by 6 Feet Under. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's
that's the thing that the E is making me want to listen to it. Like,
I know, it's really great, and it's hopefully he just goes full on with that. But let's move on. Where were we? We were still in the middle of Yo Bum Rush the Show.
Bum Rush the Show. Great crowd participation song. I bet it goes over great live. Raise the Roof. I love the sound of the 808 cowbell. Bing, bing. Like anytime that is in a beat, I'm in. Like,
yeah.
Bing, bing. Like, whenever that's there, that's points. You get an Eddie Sparxx point for an 808 cowbell. Mega Blast, minimalist kind of approach here. And then Pardon me. Terminator X speaks with his hands. I
Mhm.
speak with my throat. Clearly, it's an outro track, and it's pretty cool. And that is Yo Bum Rush the Show.
Awesome. To keep things moving, I'll go to my number 5, which you've already talked about in this episode. My number 5 is He Got Game from
Cool.
1998. Um, Once again, fantastic album. Soundtrack to the Spike Lee movie. I already brought it up that it has a very cinematic sound. The way the way the beats are put together, it just it's interesting how it's a hip hop album, but it also feels very cinematic in a lot of ways. And I talked about, because in the last episode I put music in our message really low
Yeah.
because it comes out, it's very light for a Public Enemy album, but I think, it's not the fact that they decided to go with a different kind of sound. It's the fact that I just don't think the songs and everything put together really created a great album. Whereas in this case, it continues that lighter and kind of Public Enemy thing, but it works. And I just love the fact that there really are some interesting chances taken with the production of this album, and it really, as you listen to it, it really does feel like a story unfolding as you get through the album, and I just always really enjoyed that about this. And on top of that, it goes in my top 5 because it's a very engaging Public Enemy album without sounding like anything else that they did. Where they can take, same thing with the Poison going on. If you give me a different vibe, but that vibe is a fucking quality album that keeps me engaged the entire time, then that's exactly what I want. I will never, ever, ever want any group, hip hop or otherwise, to give me the same thing again. But if
Nah.
you're going to give me something different and you kind of just phone it in, or you don't really flesh things out that much, I'm going to notice. So, and this is not one of those cases. This is a fucking focused and well-written album, and it's one that I go to a lot, just because I like the vibe of it. And I got to watch the movie again. It's been a very long time since I've seen the movie. I remember it being really good. But yeah, my number 5 is He Got Game.
Cool. So this is probably the biggest one you and I kind of disagree on, because my number 4 is Muse, Second Hour, Mess Age. I it's hyphenated in there, so I thought it'd be fun way to say it.
For those of you watching the video, the title will be down below, and you can see how it's spelled out.
Yeah. Now this one for me, I know that you said it's a little bit light
Yeah.
for in terms of what they did beforehand, but there is like a side of me that kind of likes this a bit more accessible vibe to Public Enemy that they busted out on this one.
Yeah.
It is a pretty long album, and I actually had it. I actually had it at number 2, but then I realized, yeah, well, it is pretty long.
Number
And
2. Wow.
yeah, it was pretty high for me. I heard it and I thought, actually, this is a pleasant surprise. But, upon more listens, I will say my top 3 are pretty. There's no fucking with that top 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, there a whole lot of love going on in the middle of hell. Like boom, right into it, still kicking ass. Theatrical Parts is a short little interlude. I think this album runs best as like a big experience. So I get like the individual song thing not being as like jump out. I get that. But there's just something about the way this album is to my ears. Like I kind of like the lighter beats, but they're still kind of upbeat. Give It Up is a smooth, groovy track. Exactly the type of rap beat that I like. I think as well, it's like it's kind of in the post G Funk era sort of thing.
Well, I mean,
And
that's
I'm
a lot. I mean, that's a lot of what the album's about in the album cover.
Yeah.
About like hip hop glorifying the hood, kind of thing, for lack of a better term. But yeah, because it became almost like cliche, where like you had rappers that would come out, and it was almost like they were given a list of keywords that they had to fit into their raps, and so it was always like 40s, my homies, a drive by. Like, as long as you get all these things in, then you will be a successful rapper. And it was
gat,
yeah, it was unfortunate, because some of that music from that era is really fucking good, and then there's a lot of copycat shit where all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, I can be a rapper too, I just got to say the right words and have the right image. You could say that that's very reminiscent of the glam metal scene in the 80s, where a lot of other bands came out and they're like, look, as long as we do our hair the right way, and dry rate on stage.
It's funny. I'm actually gonna do another GTA tie-in, because there's a really funny like mini plot in the game where like early on in the game you meet a guy called Jeffrey who purposefully got himself sent to jail on like petty crimes and shit, so that he could also claim that he's a gangster and become a gangster rapper. So you have to help him early in the game kickstart his rap career by breaking into the mansion of an already very rich and successful rapper called Mad Dog, who is voiced by Ice-T.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he becomes a character later in the game when you save him from like an attempt on his life after, struggling with alcohol and that, and you get him back on his feet, and eventually you expose Jeffrey, or OG Loke as he goes by, following his stint in jail. Basically, he's just like, he is the embodiment of the wannabe gangster, and it is like, I don't know if I've ever shown you any scenes from it, but like, whoever played him nailed it, because it's like, yeah, it's OG Loke, homie. I'm gonna kick a little something like this. When I call with a punch you in the face, a gun at my waist. It's OG Loke. He's just like really bad. He's really bad at rapping, and there's a whole song that they did in the game.
Man, there's so much going on in that game. It's like
the lore, the universe building of Rockstar Games back in the day is second to none.
It's so great that we've gone from like, what's the story of this game? Well, climb a ladder, watch out for rolling barrels, save the princess. It's like, there's a monkey, there's a big old ape at the top. He's throwing things down at you. Watch out for those. That's the whole game.
Yeah.
And now it's like, you got to help this guy get back on his feet and rob this guy. I'm like, God damn, this is,
And the wild thing,
amazing.
The wild thing is that game is 18 years old, and yeah, it's amazing, and it holds up. It holds up today. But yeah, as I was saying, I'll have to show you at some point, because it is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Where am I at? What side you on? It keeps giving fire to my ears. Bedlam, 1313. It's gonna be Bedlam if we get him. I love that little Flav line in there.
Yeah.
Stop in the name. It's a short one, but it keeps the vibe going. What kind of power we got?
What?
What kind of power we got?
Did I forget
Soul
this
power.
Song? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Soul power. Yes, you're right.
Cool.
That was the ultimate brain fart right there, because the way I was literally thinking about the next album I'm talking about, and then you said that, and I go, what kind of power we
got? So what you gonna do now?
I'm gonna listen to you talk about the goddamn album.
Yeah, like this song is kind of a dig at the gangster rap cliches.
Mm-hmm.
White Heaven, Black Hell is, they have a talent for making short tracks that have staying power. White man's heaven is a black man's hell. Race Against Time is an up-tempo one. They used to call it Dope, is a little interlude rap. Ain't Nuttin', Butter Song is a tune. Live and Undrugged Parts 1 and 2. That dissonant synth thing in there makes for like an extra filthy beat, I will say.
Yeah.
Thin line between law and rape. I love how this album flows one track into another. That's why I think it flows better as a whole thing rather than individual.
That's true.
songs.
There are everything fades into something else, right? Like there's no hard stops in any of the songs.
Nah, it's all one flowing thing, and I think, you know, obviously for you, you're a big songs guy. You know, you want to be able to have a song.
I like albums as well, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, you put this one on its own, and it's a fine album, but it's like it's never been one that's I've been able to get through without kind of losing my focus or kind of getting distracted by other things. It doesn't really hold my attention all the way through.
Fair. I ain't mad at all. Which is another song. Love some Flavor Flav rapping. Death of a Carjacker is an interesting beat. I Stand Accused has a cool airy beat to it. God Complex. I like that they did the 2 X's like I did with my name because I'm Eddie Sparxx.
Yeah.
Hitler Day is like a funk rock, pardon me, kind of beat. And
if you're counting, that's 2 burps in this episode.
2 burps. 2 belches, baby. Hell yeah. Way to raise the bar. New record. Harry Allen's interactive superhighway phone call to Chuck D is another cool creative choice. They do a lot of stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
I sounded like Trump then. What the fuck?
Did you? It didn't come that way to me.
I was like, they made a lot of really cool creative decisions. They do a lot of things like this. I really like that. Public Enemy, truly fantastic band. Living in a Zoo, badass track. Music in Our Message, or Music in Our Mess Age. Cool album, but there's 3 that kick ass more.
If I remember right, Living in a Zoo is in, I think it's the soundtrack for the movie CB4. I think.
Yeah.
I think it is, which is a great movie. If nobody's ever seen it, it's a movie where Chris Rock pretends to be, he and his friends pretend to be gangsters to become rappers. And
I need to see this.
It's a fucking great movie. It's really funny, and I highly recommend it. Great soundtrack as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Chris Rock, I love Chris Rock, so whatever. So all right, my number 4, I'm gonna get this
having your salad tossed means having your asshole eaten out with jelly or syrup. I prefer syrup.
That is
love that.
That was a weird. That was part of that was a good Chris Rock, but then part of it also went into Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
almost a little bit.
That was
so yeah.
good.
Let's get this one out of the way because we're going to end up with the same, in whatever order, the same top 3. My number 4 is Yo Bum Rush the Show from 1987.
Nice.
The debut Public Enemy album. Urgent and engaging from song number 1. Like it starts off and you're just off and running with one of the beginning of one of the best hip hop groups ever. You already brought it up. There are some old school sounds here, which at the time, it's weird to say old school sounds because at the time they weren't old school sounds. They were current school sounds.
Yeah.
But you listen to it now and it sounds very of the time in the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
But yeah, even then they are, you know, even though they're not fully like Public Enemy in full effect, like kind of thing, like with the full Public Enemy sound, they still already stand apart from everybody else and have their own thing going on. Plenty of classic moments on this album. And right out of the gate, I guess, as was their sort of goal, they are a group with a mission and they have no problem being really confrontational about it from album number 1. And I've always loved that about them. And it's got an undeniable energy. It's got a very raw sound, which I like that about it. I like the fact that it's, you know, when it comes to Public Enemy, even though they're a group that would incorporate noise and other weird things in their songs, this is like them at their most raw, just hungry, like debut album should
Yeah.
be. But it ends up being at number 4, even though it's an absolute classic and I love it. They outdo this album in every way possible, and would perfect their style and continue to put out what I consider to be 3 of the best hip hop albums ever, which will be in our top 3. So let's jump into it, because I don't know if they're going to be the same order, but we have the same 3 albums in our top 3. And so let's see how this plays out, folks. Eddie, number 3.
Cool. So my number 3 is It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back.
Okay.
Fucking killer album.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people would call this number 1. But, you know, there are elements of the 2 that came after that set them a little apart. It's a little bit extra seasoning on that there meal.
Okay.
So yeah, Countdown to Armageddon, intro to hype things up, and then holy shit, bring the fucking noise.
I was gonna ask. I like how it brings our worlds together in the beginning of this, because it's Public Enemy, an American group, but the intro is from a show in England.
Yeah,
and it's like, hey, there you go. They're bringing the countries together way before we did it.
Which is awesome, because like, what is it like? How many years before? What is it? 32 years before Cranked and Ranked would begin. So it's 1988. Like hey man, this is all part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
The planets are aligning. Yeah, bring the noise, the original, and it is just as badass as the Anthrax one. The Anthrax one, I'll
we'll get to that. It always I can only imagine what it was like. I don't know if the guys in Anthrax knew that they were being name checked in that song before it came out. I in my brain, I like to think it would be awesome if they just bought the album because they were Public Enemy fans, and all of a sudden they get name checked in the first track. It's like that would be a fucking honor. And I mean, it's deserved, because Anthrax, Scott Ian especially, was wearing like Public Enemy shirts when they had one album out. And so he was, that's pretty cool. I like, just one of those things. I want somebody to call me out in one of their tracks. I don't care who it is. Somebody do throw me into their hip hop track.
I'll do it.
except for Iggy Azalea. Let's not do that. I'm okay.
Bong 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 bong.
Well, no. If she wants to do like I'm so fancy and add a new verse where she just raps about me, like that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. And what about me? Do me next.
It'll be an entire EP where it's just about us.
Yeah. But like imagine like the audacity, right? Here we go. The audacity to come out with Bring the Noise and immediately follow it up with Don't Believe the Hype.
Yeah.
Like, what, talk about a 1-2 punch. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Cold Lamping with the Flavor, very busy sounding beat on this one. This is like the peak of busy shit going on in their songs, Yeah. Terminator X to the Edge of Panic. Love the Flash sample in that. Mind Terrorist, short little interlude beat. Louder Than a Bomb. I love the funkiness on this one.
Yeah.
Court, Can We Get a Witness? Fast one, more kick-ass stuff, dude. Show 'em What You Got. Interlude type track. And then you get She Watches Channel Zero. Angel of Death sample.
She watched Channel Zero.
Sorry. I put in my notes She Watches, because I think
it probably autocorrected it.
Yeah, I think Word is not down with the hip hop lingo, but Angel of Death sample,
Yeah. I just love that because I that's already a part of that song that I love, like the mid section of Angel of Death. And just to throw that into to have the idea to throw that into a hip hop track in 1988. Now I get it, they're both on Def Jam Records. That makes sense. But
yeah.
still, that's a genius move because it works so well in that song.
It's just such a fucking groove to it. But
Yeah.
it sounds like so menacing and so dissonant, and like
Yeah.
it has all the hallmarks of like a fucking Public Enemy beat. So it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It being in there. Night of the Living Bassheads, excellent song title.
Yeah, absolutely. And amazing song.
Yeah. Man, Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos. I love the swagger to this song. Security of the First World is this cool beat interlude. Obviously, for a little bit of a choreographed Security of the First World going on. For those who don't know, that is the choreographed kind of dance group that would perform.
Well, no, they're not really a dance group.
They're moving around, you know.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't go to the military and be like, do one of your dances. Can you do one of your dances?
Actually, you know what? They're doing drill routines. That was dumb of me to say. Fuck you, Eddie. Fuck you.
No, it's. It is choreographed, so it makes sense. It's very similar.
It's rhythmic, and they're moving
with guns.
Yeah. Rebel Without a Pause. Now here we go. This song is in GTA San Andreas. This is in there. It's on the Playback FM radio station, which Chuck D is the radio host of.
Yeah.
But he plays a different character. He plays this character called Forthright MC. So it's really funny to hear him introduce his own song as someone else.
Yeah.
Prophets of Rage, awesome song. Love it. And Party for Your Right to Fight, like great shout along, hooky closer.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, this is a great album. Like
it is.
Hell yeah.
It's a great album, and so great that it is not my number 3.
Okay.
My number 3 is the first full album I ever heard by Public Enemy, Apocalypse 91, The Enemy Strikes Black from 1991. Cool. Their fourth album. And this one it's a personal favorite because it's when it came out, I listened to it hundreds of times and I love it. But it ends up being number 3 just because there are some parts of it that keep it, as much as I love it, and some of the songs are some of my favorite Public Enemy songs, there are other songs that I think aren't as good. And also the sound of the album is interesting because if you go from It Takes a Nation of Millions and Fear of a Black Planet, this has way more simplified sounding beats on it. And that's because all of their work in progress tracks were stolen. And then they had to literally create an album from scratch. And so I think there was a little bit of a rush factor to it where they had to like throw things together. But even then, while it's not as sonically exciting as the other 2 albums above it that we'll talk about, or you've talked about one, it somehow makes it gives it almost like even more urgency because it's almost like they needed to get something out, and they just worked so well under pressure. And I don't know how quickly they had to work, but they churned out some of my favorite fucking Public Enemy songs. Absolute classic bangers. I mean, can't trust it. By the time I get to Arizona, Shut Them Down. Fantastic
shut
songs.
Down.
Yeah. And then of course it wraps it up. The last track on the album is the Bring the Noise version that they did with Anthrax, which is a nice little ending to the album. And the interesting thing about this is I almost feel like Apocalypse 91 has the most Flavor Flav time of any Public Enemy album, because he's got, if I remember right, 3 songs that are fully his, and he seems to be featured more on other songs as well. Like it seems like there's the most Flav you get on any album on this album, because he's got
Perhaps that's a case of like sharing the workload. Maybe like if they were pressed for time, it was like, ah, shit, let's both do parts and come together, and we'll just throw everything at it.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it equates a fantastic album. And really, like, the only song that comes to mind that I listen to and I go, this one's not as great, is a Flav song. It's that More News at 11 song. That's the one where I kind of go, this could have been better. But everything else, for the most part on the album, is just so fantastic that little bit where I go, this is not the best Flavor Flav song that I've ever heard. I think if every song was the caliber of Night Train, Can't Trust It, songs like that, this probably would be at least number 2. But it ends up being at number 3. I'm gonna cut it short because I have a feeling we're about to talk about this album. And my number 3, Apocalypse 91, The Enemy Strikes Black.
Cool. So my number 2 is one of the coolest album covers in music.
I literally thought you were about to talk about Apocalypse 91. You are not.
I will be honest with you, my top 3 can change any day of the week. However, on the day we're recording this is what I'm in the mood for.
Number 2.
My number 2, again, like I say, one of the coolest fucking album covers in hip hop and in music, really, is Fear of a Black Planet. What a great fucking album this bad boy is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
God, man, like Contract on the World, Love Jam, like a cool instrumental intro. Brother's Gonna Work It Out, this badass abrasive rap track. 911 is a joke, incredibly hooky song, probably Flavor Flav's biggest song in terms of him having a whole song.
I mean, it was released as a single. It was a big deal at the time. So
yeah, and it's him handling all of the vocals. Super catchy song. Incident at 66.6 FM. Really cool how they used live radio interviews.
I just love the dude on that. Is that the one where the guy says, like, and when I see people in their t-shirts, I think that they're scum too.
Yeah.
They get the widest sounding dude on the fucking phone on that clip.
It's incredible. It really is. Like it's like a little time capsule of like how people were.
They're still like that.
That's what I'm driving at. That's like it's a cool little time capsule of like, wow, there's like old style voice recordings of this shit that you would hear today, but like man, people suck.
They do. They do.
Yeah. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Banger.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's one of the best ever.
Like Meet the G That Killed Me, very short song.
Yeah.
This album is structured in a cool but weird way.
Yeah.
Polywana Cracker is a seedy storytelling kind of track.
Yeah. I love the way Chuck does that, the vocals on this song. It's just so it's so unique. Like, how many other songs can you think of that are rapped that way, where he's just so like this sister, like it's fucking cool.
I was actually going to look into it, but I forgot as to whether or not that was Chuck. So that is Chuck on that song. I thought it was
that's Chuck D.
I thought it was like a cool little guest spot from like someone else. That's really cool.
That is Chuck D.
I'm going to go ahead and revive our F word rule from the NWA episode.
Yeah.
Because we are two white dudes with a podcast, we can't say the N word. So nor
do we want to. We're not.
Yeah.
This is not one of
we're
those
not
things.
Chomping at the bit.
We're not these white people that's like, you remember back in the day when we used to say whatever we wanted? What's happened to this world?
Yeah. But yeah, as I was saying, we replace on this show we replace the N-word with fella because we are white as fuck.
Yep.
So yeah, anti-fella machine. This song is all over the place structurally. Like, wow. Burn Hollywood Burn. The Ice Cube feature was banging, dude. Like, you know, as was Big Daddy Kane. Power to the People. Some more ass kicking hip hop. Who Stole the Soul? That abrasive early 90s hardcore hip hop feel in full effect on this one. Fear of a Black Planet. Awesome song. Love it. Great title track. Revolutionary Generation, you know, is another great chapter in this masterpiece.
Yeah.
Can't do nothing for you, man. Great Flav track. Flav on the mic is always a good time. Reggie Jacks, you know, minimal groovy ass beat. Leave This Off Your Fucking Charts is a scratchy DJ samply track. B-side Wins Again is an up-tempo dancey one. War at 33rd and 3rd, up-tempo intense one. Final Count of the Collision Between Us and the Damned is great. And Fight the Power, holy shit, how to close an album. Like, they really saved the best for last on this one. Like,
iconic song.
It truly is. And, you know, I love when a group has the balls to close the album with the strongest song. Because a lot of bands are like, oh, we will. You want to hear the single at the start, but it's like,
well, also the song was written for the movie Do the Right Thing, the Spike Lee movie, which is an amazing movie. So I don't know if there was a soundtrack for Do the Right Thing, and maybe it was already on that, and that's why they put it last. Either way, I love that it wraps up this album because it's perfect.
Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me.
You see, straight up racist. That sucker was simple and plain. Motherfuck him and John Wayne. That's like, and I know we're not alone in this. There's many people who would probably put that in like some of their favorite hip hop lyrics ever.
Yeah,
that's just classic shit right there.
It's straight up fire, my dude.
Yeah,
awesome.
You got anything else to say about Fear of a Black Planet?
Fear of a Black Planet, I mean, it's a fucking classic. And on any given day, it could be my number one. Hell, on any given day, my number 3 could be my number 1. This trilogy right here, is what we refer to on this show as unfuckwithable.
Yeah, I would agree. On my side of things, though, my 3 is firm. Like, there's no way that these could change any directions for me on any day. My number 2 is It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back from 1988. Cool. 1 year after their debut album, and they have fully developed their sound, and it is just one of the best hip-hop albums ever. Absolute classic. Obviously we talked about it. Bring the Noise is on here, the original, which became way more famous, especially in the land of people that listen to metal. But I just love the fact that, like, this one, the sample heavy style that would become such an important part of the Public Enemy sound is fully here. And just incorporating noise, which that's a thing that once again, I don't know what kind of wiring I have going on in my head, but ever since I started listening to music back in the day, things that incorporated sounds that didn't sound like they belonged there would always stand out to me as something great. So I've always really liked the hip hop that includes samples where you go, I didn't see that coming, all the way to getting into more of a rock side of things, the bands that use noise as part of the music or use the guitar in a way that it wasn't necessarily intended to be used or whatever. Those are all things that I have become like a thing that I really love. Those are things that just, I wish more people fucked around with noise than they do, because especially these days, because everything is so everything's got to be perfect. Everything's got to be really, in key and auto-tuned and moved in the project to the exact right note. And if the vocal has a little weird sound, nope, do it again, and we're going to correct it in post or whatever. It's just, I hate that shit. I love embracing noise the way that a lot of groups do, and Public Enemy did, especially on this album. Interesting thing that I read that I didn't know. Rebel Without a Pause, I read that Flavor Flav manually played the drum machine for the entire song. So he's manually playing the drum beat for the entirety of Rebel Without a Pause. So that dude apparently had some great rhythm, because it doesn't stand out as anything that's wavering. Like, it doesn't seem like it gets faster or slower or loses anything. So apparently that dude has insane rhythm skills. So that's pretty interesting.
Wow. That's quite a busy beat as well.
Well, I don't think the entire thing is him playing. I think the base of it, of snare and kick, kind of sounds. I think it was all done by him. But this album is a classic, and it's just, it's an hour long, but it is an hour worth of solid, groundbreaking, unrelenting hip hop. It's an undisputed classic. I love all of the things that you said about this album. It's got so much iconic music in this album. But to me, they topped this album and made a pretty much perfect one. And so let's move on to our number one albums from Public Enemy. That was It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. And now we're going to get into our number ones, which honestly, I'm very happy with your number one, because like I said, it has a very special place in my heart, because it is the first one I heard and the one that I've probably listened to the most. So let's get into your number one.
Cool. So this album is kind of like the thing I like about this album is it's kind of like an underdog. Apocalypse 91, The Empire Strikes Black.
No. It's called The Enemy Strikes Black.
Sorry, The Enemy Strikes Black. Sorry, the fucking. I got some bad habits right here. Sorry.
That's all right. It's all right. It happens to all of us.
Yeah. I mean, the Empire was the enemy in Star Wars. So I'm half right.
They were the enemy. That's true.
Hell yeah, they were. Okay. Apocalypse 91, The Enemy Strikes Black.
Yeah.
Cool. We got there in the end. We got there. Damage Control. Okay, so yeah, this album to me, it strikes me as like that kind of underdog story of, oh shit, we've had our stuff stolen and we still put out a great album.
Hell yeah.
And it ended up having my favorite vibe and, sequencing of all of them. Lost at Birth, just coming in full force with that signature in your face repetitive beat approach. Rebirth is kind of short but sweet. Then you get Night Train, which is an awesome song. Can't Trust It. Goddamn, dude, this one is groovy.
Yeah.
I Don't Want to Be Called Yo Fella. Flavor Flav back on the mic. Love this track.
There's a lot of fellas in that song. Like it is fella heavy.
It's
that's one of those ones that I have to admit, if it's booming in my car, that one gets turned down, because I'm just like, I don't want to be that dude blasting that song as I'm driving around.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're kind of like, I'm not singing it, but it's still very loud for me.
It's a great song, but it is one of those things where I have to remove myself from it and go, all right, this is a what do you call it? I'm a spectator only.
yeah. I would sit this one out. How to Kill a Radio Consultant. Like this album just fucking hell, was I high when I wrote these notes? I've just put, this album just keeps getting better. What the fuck? By the time I get to Arizona, is a great track.
Oh yeah,
Move,
one of the best, man. That's a fucking great song.
incredible stuff. Move is an intense, abrasive track.
Mhm.
1 million bottle bags is the coolest alcohol awareness PSA I've ever heard.
Agreed.
Um,
Yeah,
more news at 11. I love the beat in this song. Shut him down. Fuck yeah.
yeah,
Groovy with a killer hook. That's among that's like a top 3 song for me.
yeah.
Um, a letter to the New York Post is a diss track to the
That
aforementioned.
one's also a little bit on this album,
Fair.
especially following Shut 'Em Down. It's like there's a you're going down quite a few flights of stairs.
Get the F out of Dodge. This one's got a cool dark beat to it.
Mhm.
And then finally closing out with the Anthrax collab for Bring the Noise. And holy shit, dude, like this song gets cranked whenever
Yeah,
I'm in the car
yeah.
blasting this song.
I never
It's
get
like,
tired of that. I never get tired
nope.
either version of Bring the Noise. I never get tired of it, and I hear it a lot too because I have a playlist of songs that I play in the morning when I take my daughter to school. Some of which she really likes, some I really like, but Bring the Noise like comes up all the time, and I'm just like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'll listen to this song again. It's fucking great.
I love how it opens like so fucking crazy, but then it like all of a sudden just hits this groove. It's like
Yeah,
yeah, boy.
yeah.
Like, oh, so cool. Like, I want to listen to that shit right now. That's a cool song.
It is
I like it.
very cool.
And that pretty much wraps up my Crankdom Rank Public Enemy ranking.
Sweet.
Your turn.
So for my number one, probably a lot of people's number ones. But if it's not, I absolutely understand. My number one is Fear of a Black Planet from 1990. The third album, added to the Library of Congress for being musically and culturally significant.
Wow, so it's
along with Master of Puppets. Yeah.
Fuck,
and that's because it is a fucking stone cold classic, pretty much perfect album. Not even just hip hop. It's just one of the best albums. And it's an iconic album, and it's iconic for a reason. Like there are I don't know. There are some, we've talked about, there's some music that if somebody says I just don't get it, I was like, well, then clearly you just get the fuck away from me because I don't want to catch whatever the fuck it is that you have.
Yeah.
And then I said it on the last episode, the first Public Enemy track I ever heard was Welcome to the Terror Dome, and it's still one of my favorite hip hop tracks, period. But the big thing about Fear of a Black Planet is that the album, it's an experience. It's not just a group of songs in a particular order. It really is like an entire experience of an album that it every time I hear it, I'm just so impressed with how, I don't know. And I'm assuming it has to do with how the tracks play out and how they're arranged, because obviously you do have some that are shorter and some that are longer, some that are a little more instrumental, just a few, but it's like the whole flow of the album is just pretty amazing to me. Honestly, to me, this is them expanding their sound as far as it's going to go, because this is literally an album that if you listen to it and go back and listen to it again, put on some headphones, and you will hear things happening in songs that you did not hear before. There's a lot going on in a lot of these songs, and they went above and beyond. Like, you have to remember, like, this is the amount of work that went into constructing this album, not just in putting all the beats together, but writing the songs and writing the lyrics and everything about it. It's so much time and energy went into this, and at a time where that took a lot more effort than even it does now. And nowadays, even though shit is easier to do, it seems like there's still not much of an ambition to put anything together that's unique or interesting. It's just we got these songs, let's just put them out. That's it. But putting out an album that feels like a full experience, it's something that I miss, because I think that even nowadays when people try to do that, it still falls short. And I think it's because there's high watermarks made by albums like Fear of a Black Planet. And honestly, as an album, I would say zero, if very few hip hop albums even come close to touching this album. There are a few that I think get really close or are in the same arena as this album, but I would say that it's a contender for the greatest hip hop album of all time. Absolutely the best Public Enemy album, in my opinion. I just think that it's fucking fantastic. And in an interview at one point, Chuck D said that with It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, they were trying to make the hip hop version of What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. And in this particular case, he was saying that they were going for making something like Sgt. Pepper's by the Beatles. And I'm gonna fucking say it right here in this podcast, this album is much better than Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, because Sgt. Pepper's is an album. We'll do the Beatles one day. We'll get to it. But Sgt. Pepper's is an album that I love how people be like, it's a concept album. I like how I said people be like, that's my brain skipping over words. And I'm like, it's really not. There's a concept that plays for one song into another song and then doesn't come back until the end of the album. And the rest is just a grouping of songs, some of which are just kind of okay. But I realized at the time that album was a really big deal. But if you're putting them together, now that this much time has passed, Sgt. Pepper's is what, 50 years old, whatever. Fear of a Black Planet is 30 plus years old. So you put those albums next to each other. I'm sorry, Fear of a Black Planet blows it out of the water, blows a lot of albums out of the water. And that's before you even get to Fight the Power. So then you get to Fight the Power. And it's like, so it's a no-brainer for me that this album goes here, just because ever since I first heard it all the way through, I've just been in awe of how fucking great it is. And I wish that more artists, I'm not just calling out hip hop here, anybody, I wish there was more ambition to do things like this. Now, not on every album. I don't want every album that every band puts out with, trying to do a statement and an experience album. And no, just every once in a while, like, try something big and difficult. And because there's no part of this that makes it seem like this album was easy to do. It seems like, it could have been, the right grouping of guys at the right time, and this all came together into this amazing thing here. But it took some effort. It had to have taken a lot of effort to put an album like this together. And one of the best albums ever made. My favorite Public Enemy album, the best Public Enemy album to me, Fear of a Black Planet. And I don't really have much else I can add about that. It is an album that if you have not heard it, please do yourself a favor and go do it now. But don't listen to a track. Just let the fucking thing play out, because it is fantastic. Bam. And you say, God damn, this is a dope jam. We've done it. We finished the Public Enemy. Well, what we consider the Public Enemy full album discography. Left out a few things, but if you are really into Public Enemy, then those are things that are also on your radar. And if for some reason we've actually turned you on to Public Enemy, then eventually those things will, come into your life, because there's a lot of quality shit. They've given us a lot of really fucking good music. And we've ranked most of it. And as we always do, once we finish a band, we got to do this. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, we did it. Gotta wrap up Public Enemy with some Ja Rule.
Just when you thought it was over.
Just when you thought we were done.
We did it again.
Yeah.
My throat's kind of fucky.
Another song that that like on paper it should be awful, and to some people it is, but man, can't stop listening to that song. It's at least once a week I go, I gotta fucking put on We Did It Again, because I feel I need that hype. I need to get hyped up, and it hypes me up. And it's so fucking weird. But anyway, I'm gonna make a playlist with like songs like that, and then The Noose is gonna be right after it.
Hell yeah, I'd listen to it.
Yeah. songs that everyone thinks are bad, but I really love. Like it's also, it'll have a few Metallica songs in there, because there are some absolute bangers that people hate. Every time I hear fucking Dirty Window by Metallica from Saint Anger, that is one that I'm just like, this song is way better than people deserve. But anyway, that's it. Yeah. When you just take that part out, it sounds silly. That's the best part of the whole song to me. I slam my gavel down. Oh God. Let's do another Metallica episode. Oh wait, we will have one coming up soon. We have a Metallica related show coming up in the near future. Not next time though. Next time we're jumping back into metal next time. Not going to say who, but I have a feeling it's going to be one that a lot of people are going to be interested in.
Yeah, it's very thrash, and it's very heavy thrash, and clue and groove, and a little bit of new in there if you want to really
new
push
in
it.
there too. People are gonna
bit of early proto black metal if you want to stretch it as far as you can. We're casting a wide net here.
I feel like you just for a second, the way you were talking, I thought somebody had stretched out your video a really long time, and you're like, and a little bit of proto.
Yeah, it's it's a good one.
It's a good one. It's going to be fun. Yeah. So before we spoil it, because I have a feeling there's some people that think it's a particular band that it's not, because there could be a number of bands, I guess. But anyway, we'll be back next week with some metal for those of you who prefer that kind of thing. So that was this was fun. 2-parter Public Enemy. I'm glad we did it. I don't know when it comes to hip hop, I don't know where we should definitely go from here. Do we go more modern? Like maybe we do a Wu-Tang next time, or
I like
something like that, or because we do, because I think everything we've done now started in the 80s, so maybe we should jump ahead to something that started in the 90s. Anyway, cool. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Do you have any parting words for the audience?
I can't do nothing for you, man.
All right. Well, on that note, let's get the fuck out of here. And thank you very much for joining us. Peanut Butter Platypus. To those of you who have made it this far, go buy some merch and support us. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode of Cranked and Ranked. And as usual, I'm going to throw it over to my good man, Sir Edward Sparxx, to take us out.
19 later, dude. That was gonna be so cool. I fucked it.
It's all right. It's all right.
Okay. Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
This is one of those episodes that ends on a. All right. Okay. Bye.